Hey everybody, my name is Mr. Francy and welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. Don't worry about adjusting anything. This is my second in a row audio only video. So yeah, today we are going to be discussing my buddy reads for 2023. Now the reason why I am calling them my buddy reads for 2023 is because all of these buddy reads that I'm doing are going to take place over the span of a certain amount of months in the year. So none of them are a buddy read for a single month. Therefore, they're 2023 yearly buddy reads. Okay, we'll get into all of that in a moment. But before we do, I just want to take this time to say a couple of quick things first. A little bit of housekeeping, if you will. So first of all, I just want to address what I was discussing in my last video about the reason why I wasn't going to be on camera for the next few videos, and I didn't really discuss what the actual reason was. I just kind of said that something happened, and the more that I thought about it, the more I thought this sounds a whole lot worse than it actually is. So I've decided, in the spirit of full transparency, which is something that I have here on this channel, to let you all in on exactly what happened with me. Because while it was a little bit traumatic, it wasn't anything extremely horrible. So I just want to silence any and all thoughts that you may have of it being worse than it was. So, for those of you who don't know, I was born with a genetic tooth disorder. This disorder is known as amelogenesis imperfecta. So what this means is that my original teeth that I was born with have no enamel. So it was a tough journey for me, and it's been a tough journey for me having amelogenesis imperfecta from the moment I was born. The amelogenesis teeth are yellow and not white, which caused a lot of bullying for me at school, and those with amelogenesis imperfecta teeth are affected by a ton of sensitivity because of the fact that there is no enamel around the tooth itself. When I was younger, my mother took myself and my sister to our children's dentist. We have a wonderful children's hospital here in Melbourne called the Royal Children's Hospital, sorry. I went in there and I had some crowns placed upon some of my teeth. Now, it's important for you to know that dentistry is incredibly expensive here. I don't know how it is in every single country around the world, but there are certain subsidies that you can get with certain medical experiences, things that you need to have tended to here in this country of Australia, but dentistry is not one of them. Anything to do with dentistry is seen as elective surgery. It is incredibly expensive, and so this is a battle that I've been facing for a very, very long time. I grew up in a family that was not necessarily rich financially, but we were certainly rich in the way of love. Unfortunately, without any money, there wasn't really a lot that could be done. The government's opinion on amelogenesis imperfecta is that it is what it is. There's not enough people who are affected by it, so whatever happens, happens, and good luck to you, basically. My mother, fortunately, ended up being in a position where I could get some porcelain crowns placed onto some of my teeth, not all of them. I ended up, I think, getting crowns placed onto about 4 or 5 of my teeth in the front center. And so I have had them since I was a child. So last time we spoke, and I spoke about that incident that occurred, what happened was the crown on my top center left tooth came off, and that's what was affecting me. So it came out, and my first thought was actually something different. My second thought was, oh my gosh, videos, how am I going to go? And my first thought was, oh my gosh, how is this going to affect my pronunciation? I pride myself on being able to speak perfect English, just because, you know, I was raised to speak well. My mother always told me, and more and more as I grow up, she's continued to repeat it to me, that as children, anyone who ever came over to visit us, none of this goo goo gaga stuff was acceptable around us. Everyone was to speak to us as though we were adults, as though they were speaking to another adult, so that we weren't raised with, you know, goo goo gaga, blah, 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 or whatever else. As a family friend of my mother's children used to call McDonald's McNoo-Noos. Yeah, well, McNoo-Noos was definitely not a word used in our house. I was also raised, even though she doesn't know it, by the wonderful Dame Julie Andrews, and if anyone speaks perfect English, it is her. So I was very, very concerned about how this would affect my pronunciation, and also how I would be viewed on camera, not by others, by myself personally. I did, sorry this is taking a while, but I wanted to give you the full explanation here with complete transparency. I did end up discovering that the letter S, the letter V, and the letter F became incredibly hard to pronounce, and it took me a long time to relearn how to pronounce these letters since I have lost that crown, but I have found a way to make it work, so I'm happy with that. I did, in the interim, as I said in my last video, attempt to do some videos, but every time I started talking and opening my mouth, I nearly started crying, looking at myself, which is just absolutely horrible. It's nothing that anyone wants to experience. And again, it wasn't about how I feared that anyone else would react. It was myself personally. It was just affecting me, myself. So I decided to not do videos, and then that was stifling my creativity. So now we're here doing audiobooks. All right. So now that I have said that, welcome. Just so you know, yeah, if this is the first time you're listening to any of my videos, welcome. My name's Mr. Francy. This is Mr. Francy Reads, and we're incredibly transparent over here. Anyway, so the plan is that tomorrow, today is Saturday, that day I'm filming this video. You're not getting the video today, but it's my filming day. Tomorrow, Sunday, I have an appointment with my dentist, and we're going to see if the crown can be reattached. If it can, it will be significantly cheaper. Now, to give you all a bit of a rough idea of how expensive dentistry is, if they can reattach the crown, it will cost me $500 plus the service fee. If they can't and they need to make a new mold, it will be significantly higher, somewhere around triple the amount. So, yeah, it's really not easy to get any sort of dentistry work done here, especially if you don't have a lot of money. So I'm hoping that they're able to reattach the crown, and then my goal is to fulfill a goal that I've had, well, seriously, ever since I learnt about ameliogenesis imperfecta, which is to go through some dental surgery and have, I'm sorry if this is a bit graphic, but again, being transparent, have all my teeth taken out and either have them replaced by false teeth or to put in tooth implants. The implants look a lot better in my opinion, but they cost a whole lot of money. I mean, you know, when you're looking at triple the amount of $500 just to crown one single tooth, imagine how much it will cost to implant every single tooth in your set of teeth in your mouth. I mean, it is not cheap. So the cheap alternative would be to get falsies, false teeth. So I may have to go down that road as well, but either way, I'm going to be saving a lot of money to do that. And once that's done, I feel like it will take away a lot of roadblocks that I feel that I've had. There are a lot of things that I want to do and have a massive impact on the world, not in a selfish way, but rather in a selfless way. I want to go out there and help many people, and maybe this is just something that goes through my mind, but I feel like I can't really help a lot of people when I have the set of teeth that I do. I know, it sounds ridiculous. A lot of my trusted friends have come back to me and said, you're the only one that's affected by it. But I think unless you go through something yourself, you don't quite fully appreciate or understand how it affects you or anyone else. And for me, I am extremely conscious of it. So once everything is fixed, I'll be able to go out into the world and help people, help adults, teenagers, children. I was jokingly saying to a friend the other day, I would love to help children. You know, children are a gift to this world, and they are so incredibly innocent, and not every child all the time is on their best behavior. Don't get me wrong, I'm not naive, but you know, they are our future and they are born innocent. And if there's anything I can do to help the children and to protect the children, I would love to do that. But my fear is that the moment I open my mouth, they're going to scream and run away. So yeah, I don't think that's going to help. But anyway, that is my update. That took way too long. Now we're jumping into the video. If this was too much for you, I am sorry. And if you appreciate the update, thank you. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the update, because I don't normally ask for that. And yeah, I just want to know if you guys are good with updates and housekeeping and all that kind of stuff. All right. So, just quickly before I get into the buddy reads, I want to also add that I don't know what my uploading schedule is going to be moving forward. And I said that I was going to film my monthly wrap with myself on camera. That a lot of this is going to come down to what ends up happening tomorrow. If everything does work out and I get the crown replaced, I will go back on camera. And that will be fine. If it can't be, then I will be continuing to do audio videos for you all, and my monthly wrap for December will be done as an audio form. Now that we're all up to date, let's jump into buddy reads. Okay, I have 5 buddy reads that I'm putting up on offer. They are all in my Discord if you would like to see them. If for whatever reason you can't or don't want to come along to my Discord, which is absolutely fine, by the way, please let me know in the comment section below, or you can email me. My email is in the description of every single video that I do, and I'm more than happy to send you the schedule that way. Buddy reads, in case you don't know, this wonderful idea. It's kind of like a book club where everyone picks a book, or in this case a series, and we all read it together and discuss it and talk about it. Yeah, so it's a whole lot of fun. All right. Let's jump in to the 5 buddy reads I am doing in the year of 2023. So the first buddy read that I'm going to be doing is a Brandon Sanderson buddy read. I, in large part, have Amy and Jane to thank for this one, who both told me that they really want to try and catch up and get through as much Brandon Sanderson as they can. I will be joining in with this buddy read with the books I have not read, and for the ones that I have read, I will join in with the discussion. So here is the schedule for the Brandon Sanderson buddy read. In January, so this month, we are starting off with The Way of Kings. This is book number 1 in the Stormlight Archives series, and every single book in this series is incredibly tall and incredibly wide and incredibly long. So it takes a very long time to get through. Not surprisingly, January will be Way of Kings Part 1. So there are 1,000 pages, so the goal is to get to page 500 by the end of January. In February, we will be reading Way of Kings Part 2 and wrapping up that book. In March, we will be reading, so there are two books up for grabs in March, depending upon where it is that you are up to. So we'll be reading either Well of Ascension, which is book number 2 in the original Mistborn trilogy. So if you haven't read The Final Empire book 1, feel free to read it in January and February and join in this side of the buddy read in March. The other side of the buddy read will be The Alloy of Law, which is book number 1 in Era 2 of the Mistborn series. In April, we will be buddy reading part 1 of Words of Radiance. So this is book number 2 in the Stormlight Archives series. And in May, we'll be completing Words of Radiance, that is more technically known as Words of Radiance Part 2. In June, we'll be going back to those split readings. So for Mistborn Era 1, it will be Book 3, Hero of Ages. For Mistborn Era 2, it will be Book 2, Shadows of Self. In July, we'll be reading Oathbringer, which is book number 3 in the Stormlight Archives series, Part 1. In August, we will read Oathbringer Part 2. In September, back to the Mistborn trilogy, and those who were reading Mistborn Era 1 will go on to read the first book in Mistborn Era 2, The Alloy of Law, and those who were already reading Mistborn Era 2 will read Mistborn Era 2 Book 3, Bands of Mourning. In October, we will be reading Rhythm of War Part 1. This is where I will join in. I've read all the books up to this stage, but I have not read Rhythm of War, so that's in October. And in November, Rhythm of War Part 2. So that is book number 4 in the Stormlight Archives. And in December, it will be Bands of Mourning for those who are at that point reading Mistborn Era 2, which is book number 3 in that era. Or The Lost Metal, which is book number 4 in Mistborn Era 2, which came out last year, or you can read both. So that is the Brandon Sanderson buddy read-along schedule. The second buddy read that we are hosting over at the Discord is the Cassandra Clare buddy read. So I am really, really excited about this one, and I don't know why, but it says Cassandra Clare buddy read 2022. I need to update this because it is 2023. Anyway, so I have read all of the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, books 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so my friend Amy and I have decided that we're going to read other series within that same universe by Cassandra Clare. If you'd like to join us, here comes the schedule. This month in January, we are reading Clockwork Angel. So Clockwork Angel is book number 1 in the Infernal Devices series. I have read that book. It's so far the only book I've read this year. And even though it had a bit of a slow start, once the action got underway, I really enjoyed it. So book number 2, in February, we're reading book number 2 in that same series, which is Clockwork Prince. In March, we'll be reading book number 3 in that same series, which is Clockwork Princess. Then, in April, we will begin the Last Hours series, all of these by Cassandra Clare, and we're going to be starting with book 1 in that series, Chain of Gold. In May, book 2 in that series, Chain of Iron, and in June, book 3 in that series, Chain of Thorns. In July, we will be reading a series that I am so incredibly excited for, can you tell? Which is called the Eldest Curses series. So this is a series, if you know the Shadowhunters world, whether you've read the Mortal Instruments series or whether you've watched the TV show, this is a series featuring Malik, the combination of Alec and Magnus, and I am so happy. There are 2 books in this series. So book 1 we're reading in July, it is The Red Scrolls of Magic, and in August, this title intrigues me, we are reading The Lost Book of the White. And if you have read the Mortal Instruments series or seen the Shadowhunters TV show, you know all about the Book of the White. So I'm very, very, very excited about that one, but I'm very excited about both of them. I love my Malik ship so much. I cannot wait to get into that one. In October, we will be reading the Dark Artificers series. So we will begin with Lord of Shadows in October. Then in November, we'll be reading Queen of Air and Darkness. And if we determine... No, I got that completely wrong. I do apologize. In September, we will be reading Lady Midnight, which is book 1 in that series. In October, we'll be reading book 2, Lord of Shadows. And in November, we'll be reading Queen of Air and Darkness. I am so happy that we are doing a Cassandra Clare buddy read. Look, people have said different things about Cassandra Clare, and that's absolutely fine. I understand why some people have issues with her. It is logical. It is reasonable. And that is fine. They can have their opinion. I get it. I appreciate it. In saying that, I love the Shadowhunters TV show. I loved the Mortal Instruments series, and I can't wait to read more from this universe. So I'm incredibly excited. So if you'd like to join us for that one, feel free to come along in January. This month, Clockwork Angel is the book we start with. Now let's move on to one that, oh my gosh, I am so happy. We are doing a buddy read of the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery series by Lee and Hollis. Well, on the cover it says Lee Hollis, but Lee and Hollis are a brother-sister authoring duo. This is an amazing cozy mystery series that revolves around Hayley Powell, who is a columnist who writes a weekly column where she's basically writing a blog, and then after that blog she'll write a recipe that ties into her blog that she's discussing about, you know, what's going on in her life. And it is the coziest of cozy series I've read. I read the first 3 books last year, and so therefore with this buddy read, there is going to be a bit of a catch-up that takes place in the first 2 months. So I've read the first 3. This month in January, it'll be a catch-up of books 1 and 2. So that is Death of a Kitchen Diva and Death of a Country Fried Redneck. In February, the catch-up continues with reading Death of a Coupon Clipper. Then in March, I will join everyone as we move on to book number 4, which is Death of a Chocoholic. In April, book number 5, Death of a Christmas Caterer. In May, we're going to read book number 6, Death of a Cupcake Queen. In June, we're going to read book number 7, Death of a Bacon Heiress. In July, we're going to read book 8, Death of a Pumpkin Carver. In August, we're going to read book 9, Death of a Lobster Lover. In September, we're going to read book 10, Death of a Cookbook Author. In October, we're going to read book number 11, Death of a Wedding Cake Baker. And in November, we're going to read book number 12, Death of a Blueberry Tart. And in December, we're going to read book number 13, Death of a Wicked Witch. I cannot wait. I am so excited. I know some of you have read the series already. If you want to join us and do a reread, fantastic. If you love the series, please come along and join us. So I, at this stage, am being joined by the lovely Jane, as well as Ashley Marie, and also special guest for this particular buddy read, which is very exciting for me personally. Mama Francy is joining in, and that is the nickname we give for my mum. So my name, Mr. Francy. We nickname my mum Mama Francy. Mama Francy's joining us for this one. Oh my gosh, I got her onto book number 1. She loves culinary cozies or culinary books in general, and she loved book 1. She's currently reading book 2. She is on track with this buddy read already, and she is loving it. So yeah, very, very excited to have everyone who wants to join myself, Jane, Ashley Marie, and Mama Francy. Please come along. It's going to be great. I highly recommend this series. Next up is the Zodiac Academy series. This series, I do not remember who the author is, but that's okay. We will get through this quickly. Okay, so I am incredibly excited about this series. I'm going to cut a long story short, and I'm not going to name names, but I think it was earlier on this year or late on last year, there was a booktuber that I was following, still am, and I was talking to them about this book, because book number 1 in the Zodiac Academy series, because it looked interesting to me. This booktuber told me, don't waste your breath. I know your reading tastes. I know you won't like it, so I don't recommend this book to you. So I decided not to read it. Then I was talking to my dear friend Amy over on the Discord, who was talking to me about her love and her passion for this series, that it became, in a really good way, infectious with me. I need to read this series now because I want to be as excited as she is. So all I know is that it's about fairies at an academy with all different magic systems. I am incredibly, incredibly excited. So I know that Amy will be there for the discussions. She's read the first 8 books that are out. Michelle said she's going to join us, so really excited to have Michelle there as well. And if you would like to join us, here is the schedule. Okay, so we're beginning this in April. Okay, so there's a bit of a wait. You have time to prepare yourself to start getting the books. In April, we'll begin with book 1. So book 1 is called The Awakening. So with this first book, I have been told in no uncertain terms, it contains major trigger warnings for bullying. Amy has told me this countless times, and Amy, I really appreciate it. I keep telling her to remind me, because I don't like going into triggering books without knowing about the trigger itself. I love going into every single book I read blind, but if something is going to trigger me, I'd much rather be warned. Amy has also told me that it is nowhere near as bad for the rest of the series. So it's more of a situation, and I've heard this term thrown around many times on BookTube before. It's a situation of get through book 1 because the rest of the series is amazing. I'm really excited. Look, the setup premise here of fairies, magic systems at an academy has me incredibly excited. I liked Vampire Academy a lot, so to have an academy now of fairies instead of vampires incredibly excites me too. So there we go. In April, book 1, The Awakening, that one has the trigger warning. Then in May, book 2, which is Ruthless Fae. In June, book 3, The Reckoning. In July, book 4, Shadow Princess. In August, Cursed Fates, which is book 5. In September, book 6, Fated Throne. In October, book 7, Heartless Sky, and in November, we are reading book 8, Zodiac Academy. So I'm just going to quickly say it again. In April, book 1, in May, book 2, in June, book 3, in July, book 4, in August, book 5, in September, book 6, in October, book 7, in November, book 8. And book 9 will probably come out at some point, so maybe we can have book 9 to December, who knows. But anyway, that is the schedule for that one so far, and I am so excited. I love my fantasies, but when we have fantasies set at a school with a particular race or more than one race of fantasy beings, it has me so thrilled. I can't wait. Alright, let's get on to the final series that I am doing a buddy read of in 2023, and this is a classic series. So it is a fantasy, but it was originally released as a fantasy series. It's now a classic series. I have had a lot of interest since I discussed that this series is on my SAS list, so it was a recent add to the buddy reads, and is the final buddy read I'm doing for 2023. And that is the Chronicles of Narnia series by C.S. Lewis. Now, I understand, before you come for me in the comments, that there are issues with C.S. Lewis, with the series. I get that. That is fine. At the end of the day, I separate authors from the works itself, and I don't want what an author might or might not have done to affect me giving a book a go and loving a book or series for what it is. If you can do that and want to join us for the Chronicles of Narnia series, please do. If you can't, I completely understand. I just ask that you please don't begrudge me for being able to separate a book, especially a work of fiction, from an author who may not necessarily be the best person in the world. Alright, so here is the order that we are going to be reading the series in. We are reading them in, I don't know if it's publication or timeline in the book world order, but this is the order we are reading it in. In February, we are reading The Magician's Nephew. In March, we are reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. In April, we are reading The Horse and His Boy. In May, we are reading Prince Caspian. In June, we are reading The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. In July, we are reading The Silver Chair, and in August, we are reading The Last Battle. I know that there is some confusion, and different websites say different things as to what the order is that you should read them in. For me, I learnt late last year late 2021 / early 2022. I have to keep reminding myself we're in 2023. If I need to break a tie, my tiebreaker is always fantastic fiction. So fantastic fiction have this series listed that way, so that's the way that we are going to read it. So, just once again, to wrap things up, the 5 buddy reads that I'm doing for 2023 are the Brandon Sanderson read-along, the Cassandra Clare read-along, the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery Series read-along, the Zodiac Academy read-along, and the Chronicles of Narnia read-along. If you would like to join us for one or more of these series, then please, by all means, do come along to the Discord. We would love to have you there. We are a very bright and positive and bubbly and welcoming community over on the Discord. That's just because of who I am. I will not tolerate any type of bullying, put downs, negativity, anything like that. Now, yes, of course, we are realistic. If people are having a tough day, I understand that, and we're there to support each other. But what I'm saying is, if anyone goes out of their way to try and cause disharmony in my Discord server, or to try and spread a whole lot of negativity, I am not here for that. So please know that if you do decide to come along to join the Discord, or if you're a bit tentative in deciding whether or not to join the Discord, that we are a very loving and very positive community. And if you've been following my channel, then maybe you would have known that already, because on this channel it's all about spreading your sparkling energy all throughout the universe, and so that is very, very, very much extended to the Discord. But if for whatever reason you can't or don't want to join the Discord, which is absolutely fine, but you want to be a part of the buddy read, let me know in the comments below, and I'll find a way to send you a copy of the full schedule so that it is easier for you to have a copy of that. Alright, but in the meantime, that is where we are going to leave it. So I will go off to my dentist appointment tomorrow, and we will see how things go. I cannot give you a schedule for when I'm going to be uploading for the remainder of this week, but we will see what happens. Next time in my next video, whenever that is, you will either see me on the screen or you'll get another audio one, but either way, you will definitely get an update. If you would like to follow me in anything and everything I'm doing to do with reading, Discord is the place to do it. I'm always updating how things are going on there every single day. But in the meantime, I'm going to let you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, say it with me. Happy reading. Bye, everyone.